Hello, beautiful souls. How are we doing today? I hope you guys are doing super well. So happy Twin Flame Tuesday. We've just had the 4-4 portal. So if you haven't seen that video already, then definitely worth going and having a look at that. Lots of useful information there, hopefully. So that you guys can use the energies from that portal from the 4th of April, 4-4, to the highest degree. So let's have a look then, as what is now normal for these readings. And I say that because this is only the second Twin Flame Tuesday video that we've done, but we're going to be doing these every single Tuesday. We're going to look at heart space, mental space and physical space for the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies. So we're going to start with the divine masculine energy because the masculine collective is now leading the divine feminine collective. So let's have a look and see what we've got for the divine masculine within his heart space. So we have fog, veiled. Let's get some more information. This suggests straight away that the masculine, sorry you can't see that very well, the sun is blazing in through the window and I've had to close the curtains. But it's still peeking through over there. Yeah, straight away, the masculine's not quite sure what's going on in his heart space. Let's get some more information there. See what's going on. Now the heart space is where the emotions reside, where desires lie. You know how the kind of phrase goes, you know, what's in your heart, like following your heart, that kind of thing. So this is where emotions and desires are. Okay, there you go. Oh, okay, interesting. So we've got the Metal King, discipline, armor and boundaries. Now those of you who are familiar with my live streams over on Twitch, if you're not, by the way, the link is in the description below if you want to come and join us live. Every time this card comes out, you know, this always suggests shadow work. The masculine's really closed himself up within his heart space. We'll find out why that is in just a moment. But he's kind of closed himself up. He's fiercely protecting himself. From what? I don't know. I suppose that would be different in every individual case, right? But let's dip into another deck and see if we can get some more information on that. I mean, I was going to say it's not looking good, but you know, there's always a reason for these things. There's always a purpose, right? Confidence is the key to success. New moon in Leo, yeah. So the masculine's not feeling particularly confident. He's doubting himself. I mean, as we go and we look through mental space and physical space, then perhaps this will make a little bit more sense as to why this is happening for the divine masculine. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Every time I do these readings, I always get hella raspy. Sorry. So yeah, the masculine's really closing himself up. He's putting his walls up. He's wearing this suit of armor and he's not letting anyone in. Equally, he's not really letting himself out. So he, you know, we're seeing here that there's a lack of confidence there in himself, in his desires, in his beliefs, even and in his faith, whatever it is that he has faith for. I feel that he's not trusting. I mean, we have witnessed over the years when the Divine Feminine Collective was leading the Divine Masculine Collective. And this happened throughout our natural born lives through until December of last year when we had the Great Conjunction. And I keep banging on about it, but it was a very poignant turning point energetically for everybody. We witnessed the masculine opening himself up completely to the divine, and then there'd be this surge of energy, and then he would immediately recoil, like it was overwhelming and it was too much for him. I mean, to be honest, this is the natural reaction, isn't it, when you encounter something that's completely new. And the masculine collective is so used to not being the one leading that this is actually starting to make sense now, especially now that Aurora, my guide, has stepped up and she's helping me to channel a little bit here. The masculine's just opened himself up completely, and we did see in the last reading, in the previous Twin Flame Tuesday. If you haven't seen that, it's probably worth looking at it, because it will probably shed some light on you know, what happened before where we're at now. We have just had the 4/4 portal as well, which that energy is still lingering. You know, it's not like it only lasts for a day and then it's done. It stays with us, and it works for us in the background as time goes on. So the masculine is reacting, I feel, to this to all of this energy, to this rush of fresh new energy. You know, the divine's asking him to surrender, like the divine's asking everyone to surrender, and he's resisting that, I feel, just a little. It doesn't mean that he won't come around, you know, I'm sure he will. But for now, he's very much me, myself, and I energy, just keeping to himself, and kind of just quietly working things out for himself. So I didn't say this at the beginning of the reading, and I should have, my bad. But remember that when we're looking at divine feminine and divine masculine energy, this could be energies within yourself. I mean, I say it could be, it is, right? We're looking at energies within yourself, which is then reflected outside of you. And that's when we start looking at the twin flame and soul flame collective. So what we're looking at here is one and the same thing. We're looking at what's going on with the divine feminine as an individual and the divine masculine as an individual, which is, you know, the twin flame dynamic. But we're also looking at the energies that's going on within oneself. So I hope that makes sense. I don't feel like I explained that properly. I hope that makes sense. That these are the energies that go on within you first, and then we see them reflected outside of us, within another person. So if you're a divine feminine watching this and you're interested in what your divine masculine is up to and whether union is on the horizon, I can tell you straight away, union is definitely on the horizon. It always is. It's always a possibility. But we need to look at this energy first as being within yourself, because once it's aligned within yourself, then union is possible outside of yourself. You have to find inner union first. So it's worth looking at this in both mindsets, right? Look at this as being what's going on within you, do the work on yourself, realign those energies within yourself, and then your twin flame is free to step into your realm. Also, your twin needs to be doing the work too, right? It can't be one-sided. You could do all the work in the world, but if your twin isn't, then union is not possible. It's, you know, it's a very interesting dynamic between two souls, definitely. Anyway, let's see what the feminine has going on in her heart space. Okay, so we've got two cards here have just jumped out. So we've got New Moon Promise. So she's in the new beginning kind of phase. You know, she's feeling very optimistic. She's feeling these new changes from the 4-4 portal, from the Great Conjunction. The energy is really settled within her now. And it's given way to this vulnerability. Right, we've got Meadow, vulnerability. Meadow, you know, to me, it conjures up, I mean, we've got the image there, right? It's like springtime, this wide open, beautiful space, a bit of a blank canvas. So I'm really seeing here that the feminine is fully embracing a new beginning. She's feeling the change, she's settling into herself, and she's feeling very optimistic about it. Beautiful. Let's see what else we've got. Throwing cards all over the place. Just one, please. This deck is being very chatty, but it's throwing like 5 cards out at a time. I only want 1 or 2 maybe at a push. Excuse me, sorry. Sorry if that was loud. Okay, so we have the Camel Boy. Small steps and asking for help. Also card number 33, 3 being the divine number for manifestation. So the feminine, along with this vulnerability, right, perhaps I should have said a little bit more about that vulnerability, because maybe some of you are a bit confused about what that means, right? The vulnerability is essential to being open and becoming more compassionate. When we're when we're not vulnerable, usually ego is at play. And ego is trying to control any given situation, and we gain this kind of bravado about us, don't we? Which isn't particularly attractive. I mean, any way that you look at it, and it's also not very helpful. Whereas when we're in a state of vulnerability, that doesn't mean insecurity. That just means that we're open and we're bearing our soul, as it were. We're showing our true self, we're in authenticity. Vulnerability is not insecurity. Insecurity is not feeling like we're worthy, feeling that there's everyone else in the world is better than us and more capable than us. And, you know, insecurity is rooted in fear, which comes from ego. So I'm sorry you can't read the cards because the light is really shining off of them. But this one here is what we're talking about, the Meadow, the vulnerability. There we go. So the feminine's in a beautiful state right now, where she's taking these small steps, like she's taking baby steps. She's in this state of vulnerability and feeling very optimistic as well. It's a really wonderful combination, because it's allowing her to explore how she's feeling, to really understand how she's feeling, and her desires as well. So let's have a look at Moonology and get our last card for the heart space. What else is going on for the feminine? Interesting. Look at this. We've got Leo again, right? Leo and Leo. New moon and full moon. Don't let pride get in your way. So right, yeah, okay. So the feminine, I'm going to use the word despite, and it's not entirely the right accurate word. It's not, I'm using it in place of but, right? Not the most accurate way to start this sentence, but for lack of a better one, because language always lets us down when we start talking about spiritual things. Despite this beautiful energy that the feminine's in, there's almost like a danger of, and I use the term loosely, of her becoming self-righteous through the state that she's in. You know, this is heart space. Everything is rooted within heart space. You know, heart is where thought comes from, which is where speech comes from, which is where action comes from. It's a very beautiful cascade of action, right? So the energy that she's rooted in right now is very authentic, you know, and it's going to be pretty easy for ego to be very proud of the fact that that she's in authenticity, which I know that sounds daft, but it happens because when we're in such a die-hard state of authenticity, naturally, you know, we witness the people around us who perhaps are not, you know, they're in ego, they're still sleeping, right, as people like to say, that they're not awake, right? They're unaware of the witchy woo and the spiritual. So it's I've witnessed this a lot within the spiritual community, and it makes me quite sad because as soon as you start to think that you're better than somebody else because you're authentic and you're aware of energy and you're an energy worker and you meditate and you do yoga and you're vegan and you're taking care of yourself and you just get it, it's very easy to start for ego to kind of latch onto that and to then move into a state of, I'm better than the people who are asleep. I'm more advanced on my journey, therefore I'm doing better than you, and you start to get a little bit full of yourself. As soon as you get into that state of mind, all of this stuff is totally meaningless. And you're not compassionate anymore. You're now in ego and you're just as bad as they are, right? Because to be in that state of understanding and wholeheartedly embracing your spirituality is to not look down on people who are not yet there. And the people who are not yet there are not going to get there, or certainly you're not going to help to unlock them and to wake them up if you're in this gatekeeperish kind of energy. So the feminine is being warned here that she's in the perfect state for herself, but she's also in the perfect state for ego to step up and start thinking that the feminine's better than the people who are around her, right? So feminines, just be aware that you're potentially teetering on the edge of becoming that, and spirit is urging you to not step into that energy, because the hard work that you've done thus far will be undone. You'll take steps backwards, and then you'll need to shed your ego again, get back in touch with yourself again, get back in touch with spirit again, and you've already done that hard work, so don't let that slip. Now let's have a look at mental space then. Let's see what's going on with mental space. What do we want to use for this? I think we'll have a look at the Cosmic Cloud Oracle, actually. for this. Let's see what's going on in mental space then for the Divine Masculine. What's on his mind? What's he thinking about? What's he conscious of? Oh my goodness. What is he conscious of? Okay, so we have an air card here, playful. He wants to have fun, and understandable, you know, given that he's probably not really having much of it right now, because of the way that he's feeling. He's locked himself up. He's not entirely sure what it is that he wants. He's lacking in confidence right now in his heart space, right? That doesn't mean that his behavior is, you know, outwardly might be showing something completely different, but when he's on his own and he's, you know, really feeling what he's feeling, you know, he's really feeling his emotion, he's very aware of it. He's feeling quite vulnerable, and not in the same way that the feminine's feeling vulnerable. He's feeling insecure vulnerable, right? So he's thinking, you know, he has this on his mind that he just wants to have more fun. I feel like he's actually thinking, you know, that he's getting a bit fed up, I feel. He's a bit fed up with it. You know, it's been a very hard year for a lot of people. And I feel that he's just like, ugh, feeling like this again, you know, because last week he wasn't in this energy at all. He was really taking care of himself. Not to say that he's not now, but he was having fun with taking care of himself, right? You know, he had things that he was feeling very optimistic about, and now not so much. I mean, we mustn't feel sorry for the Divine Masculine energy. This is part of the process of him assimilating the 4/4 portal energy, the full moon in Libra energy that passed over a week ago. There's a lot going on, and this is how he's handling it right now. It's part of his process. So we also have your hard work is paying off. New moon in Capricorn, so almost echoing what I was just saying there. This is part of the process, and the work that he's put in, it is paying off in that he's still, you know, he's not, even though he's feeling this way, his thoughts aren't giving way to that. He's not feeling, he may be feeling a little insecure and less confident about things, but he's not allowing his ego to step in to his mental space and start telling him what a piece of shit he is and how he's never going to amount to anything and all the rest of it, all lies, and all the stuff that ego just tends to say when it's being negative. So that's very good news, right? He's not slipping, he's just having a moment where he's just not feeling too great. Okay, so let's dip into Starseed, the Starseed Oracle, and see what we've got here in mental space. Forge, don't follow. Pave a new path. Be the leader you wish you had. Yeah, so he's thinking outside of the box. I feel that he's aware, right? He's aware of how he's feeling. He's aware that it's not in alignment with the work that he's been doing. This stuff, you know, that he's feeling right now, that's not in alignment with what he's been doing, and what he's been thinking and what he's been working on. So he's still very much determined to forge his own path, to create his own reality as he sees fit. He's just having this little kind of hiccup. That's literally all that it is, and he's aware. He is very aware of that, which is great news. You know, he's not slipping under the spell of ego. In fact, I feel like ego isn't even really present within his mental space, which is great. So yes, let's do one more. Let's do one more card from another deck here. Just see if there's anything else. Anything else going on in mental space? This deck doesn't want to speak, so I'm guessing that's it. Nope. My line. As I say that, a card flew out. Now, stone people, vigilance. Yeah, so he is being careful, right? He's very quietly just still, right, same as last week, he's still very quietly working on himself. He's just doing it in a very different way. He's doing it in a very humble kind of way now. Last week I feel it was a blinkered kind of, I'm deliberately putting everybody down and I'm just doing me, whereas now he's feeling that I feel like there's a bit more humility in that, where he's just being a bit more vigilant as to what's going on around him, what other people are doing, and how he compares. I feel that he's comparing himself, which can be useful if done in the right way, as long as it's not done in this kind of way that we just looked at with the feminine. So let's see what's going on for mental space then, for the feminine. What's she thinking about? What's she conscious of? What's on her mind? So we have a water card here, clarity. She's having some epiphanies. She's having some realizations. She's figuring things out. I feel that she's really sitting in her mental space and just figuring out what serves her, what doesn't, how she's feeling, and how that relates to what's going on in her physical reality. You know, she's really thinking about things, and there's things as well, I feel, that are coming to the surface. These realizations, they've been within her this entire time, but she's becoming consciously aware of them. Let's see what else we have here. Show the world the real you. Full moon in Aquarius. We have another full moon. Lots of blue going on here as well, which speaks to water, which is emotion. Very similar to what the masculine's doing. She's looking at, because this forge, don't follow, right? Pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. And then, excuse me, for the feminine, show the world the real you. There's kind of a, I was going to say it's a similarity. It's not that so much. It's I feel that the mental spaces between masculine and feminine are linked, which of course, you know, the masculine and feminine energies are always linked, because whether we're looking at this as energy within oneself, or if we're looking at this as energy between the twins or the soul flames, the energy is always linked. But I feel that mental space, there's a telepathy going on between them that they're probably unaware of. They're sharing thoughts, they're sharing mental space, and I feel that even though generally speaking the masculines are leading the feminines, I feel that the feminine is lending the masculine strength when it comes to mental space right now. She's having, you know, she's got all this clarity going on for herself. She's using her, or she's aware of the authenticity that's going on within her heart space. So she's trying to kind of figure out how she can show that to the people around her, how she can behave differently. You know, Buddhists say I'm now changed into a different mode of life. Um, I must now behave in a different manner. There's that same kind of thing going on for the feminine within her mental space, but because of the thoughts that she's having and the telepathic link between the two, the masculine is he's picking up on that. It's not in a particularly black and white kind of way. It's not that she has a thought and then he goes, oh, my feminine's thinking about this. You know, it's not quite as clean cut as that, but the energy that's moving and swirling and being exchanged between them, they are influencing one another always. But when it comes to thoughts, at the moment, that link is very strong between them. So some of the thoughts will be your own, and some of the thoughts will be your twins. Interesting. So let's see what else we've got going on in mental space for the feminine. Yeah, perspective. None of this matters. Zoom out. Common ground. Yeah, so the clarity is bringing perspective, you know, for the feminine. She's really beginning to understand her past. She's beginning to understand why things have happened in a particular way, why things have unfolded in the manner that they have. I feel that she's looking at her timeline and she's just really understanding it now. She's understanding all the pain and trauma that she's experienced. She's understanding the purpose of it. And through clarity, we can release. So, you know, we have 2 full moons here. So the feminine is definitely purging as well. And I suspect that that's where this vulnerability and the optimism is coming from, and the caution with the small steps too. Lots of past kind of stuff coming up, and then you're having it clarified for you, and you're getting rid of it, and you're purging it, and you're churning through it. You know, there's a lot of heavy stuff there. It's not something that can be done quickly. The feminine's really taking care here, which again is great, you know, because what she's doing is she's preparing herself for the next energetic phase, whether she's consciously aware of that or not. I know I keep banging on about it, but the next energetic phase is a lot more action orientated. Things are going to be coming up in the physical reality that are not currently. Lots of change going on in the physical reality, and that's the end of April, beginning of May. We've only got a handful of weeks left before that happens, and the feminine's really preparing herself. The masculine is too. He's just doing it in a different way because he needs different things to the feminine. So speaking of physical space, let's see what's going on for the masculine within his physical reality. Oh, well, that flew out immediately and then flew under my chair. That went right underneath me. So we have summer solstice radiance. So the masculine within his physical space, I'd say he's having a great time. You know, when he's not okay, yeah, all right, I understand. I say he's having a great time. He's distracting himself from how he's feeling when he's by himself. He's being very social. I'm seeing a lot of creative things going on. So he's burying himself, right, in his physical space. He's burying himself in friends, in music, in computer games, in activities that don't require an awful lot of brain power, right? I feel that he's drawing himself out of his mental space when he's alone, and he's, you know, probably at night, like when he's laying in bed before he falls asleep. This stuff it kind of takes over. But you know, like I say, we mustn't feel bad for him, because this is part of his process and it's necessary. And there's nothing sad about it, because it's still progress. It just sounds a little bit sad, you know, like you're sat on your own and it's nighttime and you're by yourself, and you know, you start kind of getting flooded with these like insecurities and vulnerabilities, and you're like, oh shit, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm feeling really bad right now. You know, we've all been there, right? And so we know that it doesn't feel very nice, but we also know that it's an important process to embark upon, because it brings so much clarity. The feminine's already in that space. She's receiving lots of clarity, and so she's lending that energy to the masculine to accelerate this process for him, so he doesn't need to feel miserable or lonely. He may have bouts of feeling that way, but it's far from the truth. It's not entirely accurate, you know, for what's really going on. But it's, like I say, it's part of his process. But the good, well, it's all good news, but more good news, in his physical reality, things are all right. You know, things are good even. There's not, as we know, there's no changes going on in the physical reality just yet. We all know that they're coming, but they haven't actually happened yet. This will happen next month. End of this month, beginning of May, next month. And even then, it's not like bang, things are just going to change and be completely different overnight. It's the wheels of motion will begin to turn from a standstill. You know, it's spirit is not like some kind of like super car, right, where 0 to 60 in like 0.2 of a second. You know, that's not how it works. You have to build up the speed and the momentum, and that takes time. So you know, the wheels, like I say, of motion will begin to turn. Things will start, it's going to be very gradual. When we're looking at our lives being completely different to how they are right now, 2022, this is, you know, next year, right? We've got at least 8 months before we really start to see huge changes coming into play. So no panic, folks, right? There's no need to panic. I know I keep going on about the next energetic phase, but that doesn't mean things are going to change overnight. So let's see what else is going on in the physical space for the masculine. You know, things are pretty stable for him. They're very sunny, right? The summer solstice, radiant energy, Leo energy, more Leo. I've just realised, more Leo, right? There's so much Leo going on. Leo everywhere. And he's finding his confidence in his social circle right now. I feel like there's two distinct facets of him. Yeah, look, see, fire. There's fire, Leo, sun, optimism and aggression, right? That's really interesting, because I was just about to say there's two versions of the masculine that are being presented right now. There's the I use it loosely, right? But I feel like there's the real him when he's on his own, but when he's with his social circle or his family, or, you know, he's around other people, he's showing this confident lion energy. It's not fierce, and I know that says aggressive, but it's not aggressive in that he's trying to fight everybody. It's aggressive or fierce in that I say it's not fierce or aggressive. It's just the wrong words to use. He's showing a very steadfast, leader of the pride, confident version of himself, which is not untrue. You know, this is a facet of himself, and this is also, you know, the true version of himself. He's just not allowing how he really feels right now to bleed into what he shows other people. So, you know, feminines, if you're around your masculine, he is showing you his true self. He's just not he's not letting you in. He's not letting anyone in, because, you know, this metal king here, the boundaries. He's not letting anyone in to what he's really going through right now. It's part of the process, right? Nothing to feel bad about. And he's not shutting you out, ladies. I mean, he is, but he's not ultimately shutting you out, right? So what I will say is, because I feel that maybe there are some feminines that are watching this that are like, my masculine, like, now I know there's things going on with him. And the egoic divine feminine will press and push and pester to get in, because the feminine wants to feel, it's not even the feminine, it's just women in general, right? I'm just being honest here, as a female myself, you know, the insecure female will, she wants to feel special, right? She wants to feel special in that, you know, she wants to tame the wild boy, right? You know, this is why women notoriously, they go for bad boys, because they want to tame them. They want to be that one special girl that can do that. Right, pack it in, okay, ladies. If this is now what you're taking from this reading, totally the wrong end of the stick, okay? You've got the wrong end of the stick, got the wrong message, right? Masculine needs to be left to it. He deserves his privacy. If he wants to hole himself up and figure this out for himself, that's his prerogative and that's his right. And if you are truly his twin flame, you'll let him get on with it. You know, don't let your insecurities in this relationship make you, like, start behaving inauthentically. I feel like maybe this is where this comes from, right? Because the masculine has got two or three Leo cards going on here, and the feminine's got one, and it's the one that is the warning. So I feel like that's the link there, okay? Let the masculine just get on with it. Let him do his own thing, and you do yours. So, let's see. I feel like perhaps that's probably it. I know we normally draw more cards for the physical space, but I feel like that's really all that's going on right now for the masculine. He's presenting himself differently to how he's really feeling when he's on his own. He just needs to get on with that and deal with that by himself. Part of the process. I know I keep saying it, but it's just part of the process. Having said that, I'm curious. I'm going to tap into the Cosmic Cloud Oracle, which, by the way, is still available, right? This is the deck that I made myself. Do go and follow the crowdfunder link. Whoop, throwing them everywhere. If you want one for yourself, the link is down in the description below. We've only got a couple of weeks left to hit the goal. We need to hit the goal, otherwise the project won't happen. So no pressure, but it's in your hands now, Cosmos Collective. So yeah, I was just curious, right? We've got trust, and this is an Earth card. So yeah, the masculine is he's in the process of learning to trust the people around him enough to kind of let them into this. It doesn't mean he wants help with it necessarily, but just being able to voice it. But he's learning to trust, right? So that is not permission for the feminine to start dropping these little breadcrumbs of like, oh, but you can trust me. You know, that's very manipulative, and that's not what is going on here. That's not what is acceptable. What Spirit is illustrating here is that the masculine is but he's coming around to trusting people a little bit more with his vulnerable side. Because when he's being the lion and he's being the leader of the pride, he's being the center of attention, you know, the center of his social circle, the life of the party and all that stuff. He feels that there's no room for vulnerability, and that the people around him don't expect him to have that kind of feeling going on. But chances are he's surrounded by people who are not on the spiritual path, and yet he is on the spiritual path, and he's very consciously aware of it, and he's enjoying it, and he wants to be more enlightened, and he's you know, progressing on this spiritual path through his own conscious doing. But being surrounded by people who are not, and maybe think it's all just a load of bull, that's going to take a lot of trust needs to be built before he can start to open up and start telling his friends and his family, like, I meditate, I want to become vegan, I don't want to eat meat anymore, you know, or whatever. So what he's going through has got nothing to do with the feminine in that respect. And I really feel, and I know I've said this a couple of times now already, but I'm going to say it one last time, because I really feel that there are feminines that are watching this, that are taking this as permission from Spirit to rush to her masculine's aid. Don't. That's not what this is about. If you are a feminine and you're watching this because you want to know what your masculine is up to, take it as that. Just take it as good information. This is his state of being right now, and in that respect, it's got nothing to do with the feminine. The feminine has her own path to walk, and union won't happen if the feminine is pushing herself and like manipulating her way into what the masculine is doing. He needs to figure this out for himself, and when he does, he will be infinitely stronger for it because he's done it himself. And that is the masculine that the feminine wants to be in union with, not one that she's moulded and forged herself, because it'll all fall apart in time. And he'll come to see what's happened. You know, he'll come to understand at some point what she's done, you know, and he'll leave. It's that simple, right? I know these truths are very harsh, but just saying, right? I feel that it's necessary to just point that out. The feminine's got her own stuff to do. So feminines, you know, you concentrate on yourself, my love. Let the masculine get on with it. Yeah. Right, so for the feminine then, within her physical space, desert, vision, quest, right? The feminine is not being particularly social, I feel, right now. She's on her own vision quest, right? She's spending time in nature. She's allowing this clarity that's coming through, all the things that are going on in her mental space, right? The clarity, the realizations, the revelations, showing the world the real you, trying to figure out how she can be more, or how she can show the world her authenticity that's going on in heart space, and she's gaining a better perspective on what's going on with her, and she's gaining a perspective, as I said, on her past, and she's doing a lot of purging as well. Within her physical reality, she's spending some time on her own, right? Because she's got a lot to figure out. This is another reason why the feminine should not be rushing to the masculine side, because she's not in a fit state to be helping anybody else right now. She's still figuring stuff out for herself. Love does not conquer all. Let's just point that out. We have the Well Watcher, wisdom, power of the divine. Yeah, she's in surrender, right? She's surrendering to herself and to the divine. She's gaining higher wisdom. And it's more or less essential for her to be on her own to do that. Doesn't mean that she can't go off and spend some time with her friends and stuff every so often and just sort of switch off, you know, from this stuff. She doesn't have to be 100% on this journey every moment of every day, you know. She can... Feminines, you're allowed to put this down and pick it up whenever you see fit. Just don't abandon it. But within physical space, I'm really seeing that she's not shying away. She's not burying herself in things to kind of distract her, right? Like the masculine is. She's working. She's doing the work. So let's draw our last card. Ooh. Beautiful. Creativity. Ooh. Creativity. So we have an air card here. See, the masculines had a similar kind of thing going on in mental space. She's got it in her physical space. Creativity. Yeah, see, she's embarking upon creative endeavours. The masculine's thinking about it. She's doing it. There's a lot of music and creative projects, whether that's playing an instrument or creating music, writing music. There's drawing and art going on. Obviously this is a collective read, so it'll be different. It'll be something specific for each individual person, but there's, you know, there's creative endeavour. It's music, it's drawing, it's art, it's singing, it's painting. I don't know. It's something creative, right? Is going on for the feminine. She's expressing herself through that creativity within the physical reality. She's playing with it. She's exploring, because she's here. This full moon in Aquarius showed the world the real you. She's trying to figure out how she can do that. So that's part of this vision quest kind of energy that's going on in her physical space. So I think we'll leave it there. I hope that you guys have found that useful. I didn't mean to tell the Divine Feminine off. That certainly wasn't a telling off there. Just really bringing the feminine's attention to what the masculine's doing and putting it into perspective. So I hope that that made sense. You know, I hope this reading serves you well in the days to come. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. We will be, let's think, it's Tuesday. Yes, there will be more content coming your way this week, so do subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to bitch slap the bell right in the face. And I will see you guys on Twitch and later on in the week on YouTube. And remember that you are valued, you are important, and you are an infinitely beautiful soul. You are capable of anything that you put your mind to. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next one.